Hollywood has a new comeback kid. Her name is Cameron Diaz. So where has this 90s icon been for the last few years, and what does the future have in store for her? Despite having no prior acting experience, Cameron Diaz managed an audition impressive enough to earn her the lead female role opposite Jim Carrey in the 1994 comedy The Mask. After that initial break, Diaz was set to appear in a live-action version of Mortal Kombat, but backed out because she injured her wrist during training for the film. She then took roles in independent movies such as The Last Supper, Feeling Minnesota, and Head Above Water. Following those projects, Diaz returned to mainstream film, appearing in classics like My Best Friend's Wedding and Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas. But it was Diaz's starring role in the Farrelly Brothers blockbuster film There's Something About Mary that shot her to A-list celebrity status. She went on to land roles in movies like Being John Malkovich, which earned her multiple award nominations, and Any Given Sunday, in which she played the young owner of a football team. By that time, it seemed like Diaz had definitely secured a place for herself among the top players in Hollywood. During an August 2021 appearance on Kevin Hart's talk show Hart to Hart, Cameron Diaz stated that in her 40s, she had a big realization.
I looked around and it was just like so many parts of my life that I wasn't touching and that I wasn't managing.
Diaz mentioned her distaste for being handled and, quote, handed off to other people, saying that she wanted to be able to manage her own life and everything that came along with it. Diaz told Hart that she still loves acting and has more than enough energy to do the required work. But leaving Hollywood behind has since made her whole and given her the ability to do everything she previously never could. Diaz made it clear that being an A-list actress ultimately doesn't compare to the remarkable life she's living now, saying, "I met my husband, we started a family, all those things I didn't have time for before." Despite her previous announcement that she was done with the film industry, Cameron Diaz decided to make her showbiz comeback in 2025. That year, she starred in the Netflix film Back in Action alongside Jamie Foxx. Because life inevitably imitates art, the film mirrored Diaz's own career path with a plot that covered a spy's return to the business after taking time off to focus on family.
You guys were spies?
Yes.
Like Jason Bourne?
Yeah, but we remember stuff.
Yeah.
Fans were thrilled with Diaz's decision to return to the screen, and Fox told Empire magazine that it was gratifying to be able to be a part of this massive Hollywood moment. He said, "When people are buzzing about Cameron being back, I feel good that I had something to do with it." Despite the excitement surrounding Diaz's return, she still wasn't sure she wanted to get back into acting full-time. She told Empire, "I don't know how I view my comeback, it's hard to say." She went on to explain that she didn't want to commit to making some kind of grand return to the industry. Instead, she wanted to take her career one step at a time. She added, "I reserve the right to say no to doing a movie ever again, and I reserve the right to say yes if I decide to. I'm not defining anything, I'm just open to whatever makes sense for me and my family at any given moment." Although Cameron Diaz was originally reticent about making a full comeback into the film industry, it didn't take long for her to change her tune. Following her appearance in Back in Action, Diaz accepted another role in a Netflix movie. This time she was cast in Bad Day, a story about a mother's attempt to fulfill a promise to her daughter in spite of a day filled with terrible luck. Around the same time, Diaz also began working alongside Eddie Murphy, Mike Myers, and Zendaya on Shrek 5. The breadth of these projects seemed to give Diaz a sense of excitement about her resurgent career.
If I don't engage that again and give that a chance and participate in it, then I would be a fool.
While Diaz still couldn't say just how many projects she would eventually take on, she seemed open to pursuing more opportunities in the future. For Cameron Diaz, one of the most interesting aspects of her return to Hollywood was witnessing the impact of the Me Too movement on the industry. According to her, making movies prior to Me Too could be highly stressful for female actors.
There was always this that one guy, on set that you were always going, God.
When it came time to film Back in Action, however, she said that this was no longer the case. Diaz has also said that she noticed the changes in the film industry right away. At the very beginning of filming, a human resources representative got in touch to pass along an anonymous hotline that she could dial to report any unprofessional behavior.
The level of security and safety you feel as a woman now on set I never have felt that before.
Diaz attributes these changes to the successes of the Me Too movement, as well as the subsequent investigations into Hollywood's working conditions.
The industry is so different. I mean, I definitely have to say that the Me Too movement changed everything.
When Cameron Diaz made her comeback in the movie industry, she was certain about one thing: rom-coms were not going to be a part of her repertoire. As she told Empire, movies about motherhood were far more interesting to her than the classic romances that made her career back in the 1990s and early 2000s. In her words, no more rom-coms, only momcoms. As fierce as this pledge may have sounded at the time, it didn't take long for Diaz to pull a 180. In early 2026, Deadline reported that Diaz had been cast in a romantic comedy co-written and directed by Stephen Merchant. Although untitled at the time, the premise of the movie, in which a workaholic hotel worker enters into a fake marriage with a stand-up comic, seemed like just the sort of project that Diaz swore she would avoid. Yet the opportunity was apparently just too good for her to turn down. Merchant holds a number of prestigious acting awards, including several BAFTAs and an Emmy, and he's widely considered to be one of Britain's best comedians. Together, he and Diaz could potentially deliver a rom-com for the ages. As Cameron Diaz has aged, her sense of fashion has grown increasingly elegant, and she hasn't been shy about showing it off. In March 2025, she attended Stella McCartney's show at Paris Fashion Week, wearing an outfit that balanced bold colors with simplicity. Diaz wore just 3 pieces, a white coat over a red dress paired with red pumps. While the vibrant colors of her ensemble were certainly attention-grabbing, the lack of any big embellishments or eye-catching accessories ensured the focus fell on Diaz, as opposed to just her clothes. And that wasn't the last time Diaz showed off this kind of style. At the 2026 WWD Awards, she was applauded by the outlet for what they called the quiet luxury of her little black dress and matching black blazer. Looking totally understated in this simple getup, Diaz proved that taking a break from fame didn't mean she'd been missing out on the latest fashion trends. Of course, it's worth noting she has a history of wearing simpler styles, and she's often spoken out about the benefits of aging naturally. That said, her ability to nail outfits like these, even after such a long break from Hollywood, proves the keenness of her eye for fashion. Starring roles in films like Charlie's Angels, Shrek, and Vanilla Sky only boosted Cameron Diaz's ever-growing popularity. According to Celebrity Net Worth, her acting earnings peaked between 1998 and 2011, during which she made over $160 million in base film salaries alone. She received an impressive $20 million for playing Natalie Cook in Charlie's Angels Full Throttle, which was an $8 million increase from her appearance in the first film. Diaz earned a similar paycheck for movies like Gangs of New York, and she became the third ever woman to hit $20 million for a single film role. In 2013, The Hollywood Reporter referred to Diaz as the highest paid actress among the over 40 set. The article noted that while many female leads were unable to match the pay of their male counterparts, Diaz was more than able to snag her fair share of earnings. In her 2011 comedy film Bad Teacher, she received a hefty percentage of the box office gross instead of a one-time fee. The movie ultimately earned $216.2 million worldwide, and Diaz got an enviable $42 million paycheck for her work. Though Cameron Diaz reportedly never thought she'd get married, she managed to surprise herself by tying the knot with Good Charlotte's Benji Madden in 2015. According to Us Weekly, the couple initially got engaged in 2014, after being together for 7 months. In 2015, Diaz confirmed her marital bliss, proudly praising her husband in a since-deleted post on Instagram. She stated, "One of my favorite things about being married is how much pride I take in my husband." On a 2021 episode of the podcast, Anna Faris is Unqualified, Diaz reaffirmed that she is still very much in love with her husband and spoke about her initial attraction to Madden, saying, "I saw him walking towards me and I was like, he's hot. I haven't seen him before." In a 2018 interview with Metro News UK, actor Selma Blair stated that her friend and former co-star Cameron Diaz had retired from acting. Blair explained that during a lunch conversation between the two about their 2002 film The Sweetest Thing, Diaz allegedly said that she had no plans to make any new films. Blair told Metro News UK, "We were reminiscing about the film. I would have liked to do a sequel, but Cameron's retired from acting. She's like, I'm done." Blair's statement seemed true given that Diaz hadn't appeared in anything for 4 years. According to People, Blair retracted her claim on social media in a since-deleted tweet stating, "Cameron Diaz is not retiring from anything." But shortly after, Cameron Diaz herself made a statement that confirmed the previous report to be true. In a Sweetest Thing reunion interview for Entertainment Weekly, Diaz responded to her co-star Christina Applegate's joke that she was semi-retired, saying, "I'm semi-retired too, and I'm actually retired." It wasn't until 2020 that Diaz revealed more about her decision to leave the entertainment industry. In an interview with Gwyneth Paltrow for Goop, Diaz spoke about retiring from acting. She stood by her choice, saying, "I got a peace in my soul because I was finally taking care of myself." Diaz continued by saying that she knew her decision might seem puzzling to some, but it was incredibly intense to work at that level. As an actor, her life was very much catered in a way that made her uncomfortable. Diaz stated,
"For me, I needed to become self-sufficient again.
Before she officially announced her retirement, Cameron Diaz had already found success in another career path. In 2013, she released the body book, The Law of Hunger, The Science of Strength, and Other Ways to Love Your Amazing Body, and it became a #1 New York Times bestseller. The 288-page work is said to provide a holistic, long-term approach to a long, strong, happy, healthy life. In 2016, Diaz wrote a follow-up guide called The Longevity Book, The Science of Aging, The Biology of Strength, and the Privilege of Time, which explores from a holistic perspective how the female body ages and what we can all do to age better. When the subject of aging as a woman came up in a conversation with Oprah Winfrey, Diaz said,
"It's almost as if we have failed if we don't remain 25 for the rest of our lives. Like, we are failures. It's a personal failure."
In an interview with Entertainment Tonight, Diaz discussed the process of writing her second book. She stated that the lack of single-source information and conflicting answers on the various issues that surround women's bodies as they age was what led her to write the book. She said, "We're told a lot of different things about one thing or the other, and of course, a ton of different fads are going on, like do this or do that." Though Cameron Diaz keeps most of her personal life private, she shared some exciting news with her fans on social media at the beginning of 2020. In a since-deleted Instagram post, Diaz wished her followers a happy new year before stating that she and her husband, Benji Madden, had recently welcomed a new addition to their family. The post read, "We are so happy, blessed, and grateful to begin this new decade by announcing the birth of our daughter, Radix Madden. She has instantly captured our hearts and completed our family." Diaz continued that she and her husband were, quote, "overjoyed to share the news, but also wanted privacy, and wouldn't be sharing any photos of the little one." She reflected on motherhood, telling Naomi Campbell in an interview that having a baby later in life is a little different from how most people start a family. But Diaz has no regrets, stating that this period has been, quote, "the most gratifying time in her life." In March 2024, Diaz and Madden welcomed their second child, a son named Cardinal Madden. Retiring from acting hasn't stopped Cameron Diaz from pursuing other business ventures. She and friend Catherine Power launched a wine brand called Aveline. According to the website, Aveline is a range of clean wines that are full of natural goodness and free from dozens of unwanted and undisclosed extras. In an interview with Shape, Diaz and Power discussed their brand and shared why it was vital for them to create a wine that met a higher standard than the typical store-bought bottle. The two explained that there are no specific requirements for a wine to be classified as clean. However, Aveline's wines are crafted with organically grown grapes and without synthetic pesticides. Diaz stated that, "Transparency is also important. We want our consumer to know what's in there and what isn't."